Welcome to today's tutorial. Uh, we'll just be looking at basic CRUD operation using Node.js and Express framework. So first of all, let me make a directory where our project is going to be. Um, okay, let me call it backend class. So I cd into that directory. So the next thing I'm going to do is to initialize it npm init dash y. So then open my just to do code. Right. So the next, let me open up my terminal here. So what I'm going to do next is to install Express. So I do npm install Express. The dependencies that we're going to need in our project, which is Express. I'm going to install Express. And also I'm going to install NodeMon. So let me create index file. Yes. Okay, that installed. So more this thing, more dependencies that we need. We need to install a course. So npm. So let me just install everything together. Install course. Also Morgan. We need Morgan. Then NodeMon. So these are the three other packages we need to install. So let me hit enter and install the three of them. I guess I spelled the Morgan correctly. Yeah, I did. So here, okay, so let me require my express. So do a const express. To require express. Okay, install. So we require our express. Next, okay, let me also require our course. I'll explain what this thing does. So require course and const mocha. So require mocha. So let's set up the port. So the port where our application is going to listen to. Let's make use of port 3000, but of course you can use any other port of your choice. So let's initialize our application. Let's do express. Sorry. So the next thing we're going to do is to set up our middleware. So we use our views express.json express.json. Then we have an app that use express dot URL encoded. So we set it to extended, make it true. So set up our course. So with this course policy, without this, your application will not be accessed from outside this domain. Probably like when you want to make a post or get requests using a postman. So if you don't install a course and set the policy, it won't work. It will be throwing you error. So app.use Morgan. So what Morgan does is that it helps us. Okay, let's just go right. It's used to log some basic information regarding our application. So now we're going to test our application to see if if it's really working fine. So we'll do app the listing. Okay, let me set the base route app dot get, which is the base route. Base route here. Brief response. So let's send application is working. Yeah, just send it. So now let's set up our application to listen to the port. So now I have a listing to the ports. So let's just console log this to make sure our application is working. The log. So let me use the template string here. Say app started on ports. So let's give ports. Okay, yeah, like I installed the NodeMon, installed the NodeMon here. So basically, okay, this is the, let me open up the package JSON here. So I installed the NodeMon. You can see NodeMon here. So okay, yeah, let me set it up. I've not set it up yet. So we'll set our script. Start with a NodeMon index.js. So what NodeMon will do is that it will watch this file, and if there's any change, it will help us restart the application. So now let me run npm start. So to tell NodeMon to start up this application. Okay, so you see application started at port 3000. So okay, let's head over to our browser and see. So head over to the browser, look at localhost 3000, which is of course the local port. You see the application is running. So basically, in this tutorial, I just want to show you how to make basic CRUD operation in Node.js using a Express framework. So now this application, we are going to focus on just basic registration portal. So in this app, we're just basically going to implement basic CRUD. CRUD, of course, it stands for create, read, update, and delete. So let's just assume we have uh, want to register student to a particular program. So although in this particular tutorial, we're not going to set up the database. So I'll be using the dummy data for all these. So okay, let me just create a dummy data for this. So say let student equals to an array. So we have an ID to be okay, ID one. Have okay, this guy is gonna have a name. The first name, let's say Mary James. It's gonna have an email. So email, let's say Mary at gmail.com. And what track is the person registering? Okay, so let's say the track the person is registering on the portal. Let's say is a backend track. Okay, yeah, is that okay? Let's just go with this basic information at the moment. So what I'm just going to do is let me just copy this and paste trophy just twice and change this. So it's going to be ID number two. So instead of Mary here, let's have Pope Francis. Pope Francis. So instead of Mary at Gmail, we'll have Pope at gmail.com. So we'll have okay, let's use a front end track, and this is free. So we use okay, let me use the normal John Doe. So see Jan, okay, John Doe at gmail.com. So what track? Okay, shit. So here, let's use visual, see visual design track. Okay, so we have this particular dummy data here. So these are just the dummy data. Let's say these are the people who have on the database at the moment. So let's start from here. So let's create a route to actually fetch these students. So we're going to create these routes. So we'll have app.get to students. What this should do, when we hit this route, we should be able to get the total students that we have on the database. So, so here we'll get res send. So let's send our students. So return this here. Okay, let's see. Uh, registered registered students. So let's see. Let's go back to the route again and see. So if we navigate to this route slash students, let's see. It says can't get. So what's the problem? Did I see? Okay. So node index.js. Doesn't mean my Morgan is not my. Okay, I made a mistake. So this is supposed to be node mon, not node. So with node mon, anytime you make changes and save, so I need to stop this. I need to stop the server and restart it again. Yes, npm start. Okay, so NodeMon has actually started. So NodeMon is going to be watching. If there's a change, it will automatically restart it for us. So now let's go back to the browser and hit the route again and see. Okay, so here you can see the total number of students that we have here. Return to okay. Let me use a postman so that it will be able to format this JSON for me properly. So, but our route is working correctly. It returned the number of students that we have here. So while the postman is coming up, so next we are going to set up is the post request. So what we want to achieve in this particular post, we want to make sure that during post, which is to register, let's say registration. So we'll first of all check if the student is already registered in the platform, and if the student is registered, we'll flag an error that the student is already in the platform. But if the student is not registered on the platform yet, what we'll do is that we'll register the students. So first of all, uh, okay, let me see if my postman is up. Okay, postman is still not up. So of course, the parameters that I'll be needing from the students during registration is the track they are registering, the email, then their name, and this ID. But we don't want them to input the ID by themselves. We want to be able to assign them an ID automatically. So, and how do we do this? We want this to be in uniform. So, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to set up the ID. So, let ID now be equal to student dot length. Then we'll add one to it, then plus one. So what it will do now, so the total number of students that is here, it will calculate it, add one to it, then assign that to the ID. So we're going to be getting these things now from the body of the request. So let me just copy this. So what we're going to do is that we're going to destructure these things. So first of all, we take up this ID, take it off. So let me uh, remove these things. So we don't need this. We only need just the email, because I'm going to destructure them from uh, the body of the request. Destructure them from the body of the request. So what we'll do, okay, because we're getting this from the request body, we do request dot what body to actually get this from the body. So now, what is next is for us to see if this particular user is on the database. So we want to use a unique field here. So we can't, and we don't want to use the index because, of course, and the name also, because we can have two users having the same name, but the email. So the email is going to be unique for every registered student or every student per se. So what we're going to do now is to check if the student already exists. So we'll say if let exists existing, let me just leave it there. Okay, existing student students uh, equals to. So we'll now filter the student array that we have dot filter students. So we'll filter that array using the email equals email we got with the structure. So now we've actually destructured the email and use it to search if there is a user. So we'll now check if this existing student dot lex. So if the this particular existing student has a data in it, which means that the student already exists in our platform, we don't want to register the student again so that we don't have same student registered in our platform more than two three times as the case may be. The status so we send the status of 400, which is let's send. Say okay. Say okay. Error occurred. Error. So what's the error message? User already exists. So we want to tell them that okay, this particular user is already in existence. So now return that return statement. So, but if this user is not on the system, so what we'll do is let new new students equals to this. So let me just copy this here. So this is our new student. So we'll now add the ID here. ID. And then what we're going to do is that we'll now add this to the students we have the push it new students. Then we display we send a response res.send message and registration to tell the user that the registration was successful. Was successful. So let's also show the user the details new students. Okay, so let's save our file. We've saved our file. I head back to Postman. Let me see if Postman is up. Okay, Postman is up. So let me run the request here. Let me just delete this. So local hosts. Sorry, 3000 this is supposed to be yes. Let me just edit this. So let me try and see if everything is working fine. So let me send this request. Okay, say application working. So now let me get the student. So let me see. Okay, see we are able to get our students here. Okay, Jado Visual Design. So we got that. So now let's try to register our new student. So which is a register. So let me just copy this here. So we're going to check if the validation we put in place is actually working. So we'll have this here. This is going to be a post. So and the post need to have a body. So we're going to use a raw, and under here you select JSON. So what you're gonna do? Come to this place. Paste. Let me just paste that. So coming. So just let me format this a little. Uh, okay. So we can take this off. We don't need this, but even if you leave it, it's not. So but let's just take it off. So we already have Mary in the system. So let me go back and see if okay, yeah, it's running. So now let's try to register Mary to the system and see the response we get. If the validation with the 404. So what's the error? Can't get, cannot push register. So let me see. Cannot push app.push slash register. So what the hell? Where is it coming? Coming slash register. Okay, let me just see if I made mistake on this setting. Okay, not found. Can't get 404. So okay, let's try and see where the issue is coming out from. So basically, during your development, you'll be seeing issues like this. So let's carefully look at it and see where it's coming from. So you cannot push to this particular route. Yeah, but because it's working, so yeah, so register postman. Okay, it's hitting the routes actually. So it's making a push request here. So if you look at the log here, log we have here by Morgan, so the route is being hit, but with 404. It's been hit with 404. So request, response, request body. So this. Okay, let me try to log something here and see. Let me log console dot log president body. So let me save this and see. So node mode is starting. So let's just wait a little while it starts. Next, so it's taking time. It's taking time. But let's just wait. So let's keep tracing. There's a post. Here's my post. So that one is starting. Why is this taking time? So, but looking at what we have here, so everything is correct, but I just want to log the request body. Let me see what actually is the issue. So it's taking time. So I think let me kill this terminal. Start it again. Let me start the terminal again. So let's start. Okay. So let me check again. Let's see what the problem was. Okay, so you see it's working. So what actually led to that was that it didn't save. So you see, we'll have the request body logged here. So we don't need it here. So let's just take that off. So because I'm passing in Mary, which is already on the system, which already exists. So we'll have this Mary's email on the system. So that is why it's telling me user already exists. So let's set up an add new user. So let me see. I'm adding a Sunny. Sunny. Let's see Sunny Okafor. So add this. Let's see. Let's change the email. For gmail.com. Okay, who can actually leave the track to be a backend. So let's try sending this and see if we got a successful registration. Okay, of course, we got a 200 OK status code, which means the registration was successful. See, registration was successful. So this is the detail. We have a ID of four name, Sonny Okafor, then Okafor at gmail.com, then backend track. Of course, this is the data we passed in. So you see, the post request is correct, is working fine. So let's see. If we can get a single user. uh, yeah, so here we got the whole users. So let's see if we can be able to get just a single user. So we do app.get request to say slash student, then we'll pass in okay, let's use an email, because email is the unique key. So use a request, a response. So here we're going to check if this person, this email that is passed is in the system. That is, if these users will have the students here, if it contains the email. So first of all, what we're going to do is that we need to get hold of the email. So for us to get hold of the email, we're going to destructure it from the params, which is a parameter. So we have const we structure our email, and email is coming from the param. So so it's coming from processor params. Yes. So this equals to params request dot params. That's just params. I made a mistake on that. So we've got this. So now say let student. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to filter the array we have. So students array dot filter. So we'll filter this now. When we filter this, we'll check if it's a student. Oh, yes, so students. Yes. So return student dot email. So if the student email is equals to what email, now we now check if student dot length, yeah, if the student has any data in it. So we'll do res dot send to send the students data. So, so that means we found the student, we'll send it, then we'll do what we return. So if not, res dot status of 404, because it's not found, dot send. See error. Just must be there. Okay. Let's use error student. not found. Student does not exist. So the student does not exist. So all I'm going to do is I will try this out. So let's go back to our postman. First, we'll save the file. Let me just copy this URL. So let me go back to the postman. So go back to the postman. I will paste this. Hidden copy actually. So student slash mail. So let's add the parent here. So okay, let's search for car for. Okay, no. Car for. What about Pope? Okay, let's go back and see. So let's take this email. Pope at gmail.com. So let me see. Here, see our load mode is having issues restarting this automatically. So I don't know. Okay, but anyway, this has to do with something on my own system, but of course, it's not going to happen on your own end. I think this is an internal issue with my own system that I need to fix. So for this to work, I've actually saved the file. So let me save this again. It has actually saved. So let me just stop this. Yes. And then run npm start again. So it's going to start. So without doing this now, if I try to run the application here, it's going to flag me error and I can't get this. So next thing we're going to do is we need to change this from a post to a get request because this is a get request that we're making. So we'll have this internal server error 500. So let me see, where is it? Email is not defined. So let's go back and see. It said email not defined. Okay, so you see that's a typo. I actually made a typo error here. So this is supposed to be email. Yeah, here email. Okay, it's been used there. So now let's save again. So I need to stop this. Yeah, start it again. So let's go back and check. Think. See, error student does not exist. Hope at gmail.com. So let's check the email if we typed it correctly. So we have poop. Okay. So you can see that we have a typo error on our Gmail spelling. So let's correct this. It's supposed to Gmail like this. So let me correct on others as well. Gmail. So when you make little error like this, you're going to be having issues. So stop the server and restart it again. So So this should work. So basically, I think with this, you are able to see how you can easily debug your application because once you are developing, you are bound to be seeing errors. So you see, we have a Pope Francis on the system. So we're able to fetch a single user. So now let's see if we change, although we've actually seen that, but let's just try to change this again and see. So let's see, we'll add Pope Francis at gmail.com. So of course we don't have it on the system. So if we are not expected to see any data. So you can see here it says that error student does not exist. So because we don't have this particular email registered on the system, so that is why it's showing us this. So now we're able to actually go through this, which is getting the whole student on the system, registering a new student, then getting a single student. So next we're going to look at is okay, if we want to update any of the students, let's say we want to update, okay, let's say Francis wants to update his profile. Maybe he feels like, okay, I want to change my name, I want to change my email, or I want to change the track. So what is going to do? Let's create the endpoint for that. So we have a app dot that's going to be a put request. So it's going to be slash student slash let's use his ID. Let's use ID. You can choose to use ID. You can choose to use email. So it's up to you, whichever one you want to use. But let me use ID. We've actually used email, so let me use ID so that you see how to use either of them to check for existing user on the system. So here we have our request and our response. Have your request, you have your response. So you have this set up. So next thing we are going to do is to get our ID. We'll structure it ID. We're getting this from where the request uh, runs. So we get it from the request para. So the next thing again, we are going to get the updating the field from the request body. So let me just copy this here. I guess I copied it correctly. Because sometimes when I copy things, I don't copy them properly. Well, that's just it. So we've gotten the two things we need. So let's check to see if this particular user now with the ID we pass in is existing in the database. So for us to check that, we can just use the self filter method to filter it to say let student equal student dot filter. So now this filter is going to work with uh, this filter is going to work with ID. So student dot ID is equals to what ID. So now we've gotten the student. So we'll now check, does this do we have this student in the system? So we check student dot length. So if we have the student in the system, then we're going to what update it. So we can use update it using its index. So the index, of course, is going to be zero because we'll have just one person on in the array. So what we're going to do is just to what update the field separately. Email will now be equals to the email we have here. Then student dot name will now be equals to the name of the structure, then student uh, track will now be equals to what the track the person is imputing. So that is it. So when that was send the response to the person dot send. So we see message, we send the message to the user now regarding the updates. Updated updates was successful. So that's it. So we return this. So if we can't find any user, so the rest dot status. So if we can't find any user, so the status, which is 404, we don't see anybody that appears that has such ID on our system. So it's an error. So dot send error, the error message student does not okay, student not found. Let me use the word not found. So student not found. Probably he's been removed from the system. So let's try this out. Let's save our file. Save our file. So what I'm going to do here now is let me stop the server from running. Then start it up again. So start our server again. Okay, the server has actually started. So let's see which of the route are we testing. Okay, the put request student ID. So first of all, change this to the put. So students. So this email, Namdi, and ID. So we'll have the ID. Let's use the ID of one. So we'll go back to the body. Okay, this is a car first. That data still here. Okay, let's try to change a car for. Okay, we won't find it. So let's go back to the body. We'll change this to let's see. Okay, but let's do this. Let's do it this way so that you actually see that it's changed. So let me just copy this Mary, which is the which ID one. She's the number one, which is the ID we are trying to change. So what I'll do here now is just to paste our data in here. Paste us. Where am I getting this? Okay. Getting for man. So we'll have a Mary. Okay, let's change her name from Mary James. Okay, let's try to add a middle name to her. Mary, let's say Mary Joma James. And okay, she's changing from the back end track to let's see front end. She's changing to front end. So let's see. Error students not found. Okay, the parameter. Okay. We have ID of one. So why student not found? Why student not found? Okay, let's go back and see because yeah, we have an ID of one. So let's see what went wrong. So we have a ID equals to this. Uh, is the request param. So we have the request param. Okay, so let's try to debug this and find out where the problem is. Let's see, student ID, and this ID. So we have our ID here, and it's correct. So let's see, are we hitting it? We got this from post one. Okay, so let's see if we are getting the ID. So let's do console.log ID. So when we structure the ID, let's try to console log it. Stop this and start it again. So we have an ID of one. So let's see. Students not found. I'm supposed to log this. Okay. We got this one. And this student.id equals to ID. Yeah, if students.let blah 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 blah. So okay, so let's check what's the students console. So let's find out because the code here is correct, but I wonder what is the problem. So let's log console log the student here and see the student's ID, the structuring needs. There's a put request. Here's the ID. So student.filter students dot ID should be equals to this ID. Yeah, this ID. Okay, let's stop this. So everything we have is working. So let me see. Students not found. So we're having an empty array for the students. So we'll have Mary here. So it's not picking up the ID. It's not picking up the ID. Okay, I'm coming. Let me check something. Let me see. So let me see something here. So cancel this. So let me go back. Still make the request. Okay. So it updated. So what happened here is just the issue of a data type. So now we have the body is passing this to be a string while I'm passing it to be a number. So I think to resolve this, okay, so it's seeing it as a string, seeing it as a string. So previously, so it has actually updated. We've seen the reason why it's not, but obviously this is supposed to work. But let me find out. Let me find out. Why is it not working? This para. Okay, but we've just seen it's updating, but the reason here, so it's saying this as a string. So it's saying this as a string and not a number. So yeah, string or a number. Okay. So I don't know if you understand what happening here. So it's getting this as a string from the param. So because your parameters, the param you pass is being returned as a string. So that was the major reason why it's not working. So in the initial stage, but when I converted this to string here, you saw that everything worked. So let's just leave that and we'll move to the deletes, which is a delete request. So let's go to the delete. So we have a app that deletes app that deletes students. Let's use email for the deleting. Let's use email. So we'll have here a request response. So this will now give us what? So first we're going to destructure our email. So we're going to destructure our email. So we'll destructure our email from the params. So this is going to be email from the request dot params. That's where we get our email from. So for us to do this, what we're going to do is I'm going to look for the index using the email. Then we'll have two options. We can use a filter to remove that particular user from the array, or we can use the array method slice. So, but I've used the filter. So this time, let me try another one, which is a slice. So let's say index. Okay, index equals to student dot find index. So we want to find the index of students where the student find the index of student whose email matches the email we have. So I just want to pick the index of that. So what we'll do, so once we've gotten it, we'll then see student dot splice. So it takes two parameter, which is the number of deletes and where the index and the number of items to delete. So here is the index. So passing the index here, and the number of items is going to remove from the array is just one. So do this. So the rest dot send message message student deleted. So for us to confirm that this has been deleted, so what we're going to do, let's log also the remaining student. Now see students, students. Okay, Okay, so let me just clear this. So we say available students. Available available students. So let me show use it this way. So available students is this students. So now let's see. So we've saved our changes. Let's save the changes we made. So come in here, we're going to stop the server from running, then restart the server again. Okay, so we're using email. So here we have what email. So which email are we going to use? So we'll go back to this place so that we don't get much error. So we have Mary, we have Boop. So okay, let's use one of them. So the email we are passing, okay, let's say Boop at gmail.com. So let's see. Say students not found with the email. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I didn't change the method here. So this should be a delete. So hit this again. You see students deleted. So we'll return the Mary and John Doe. So Francis is no longer in the system. So basically with this, we've just created our first CRUD operation in Node.js using Express. So let me just walk you through what these are. So basically, we installed some of the packages. This young man is not supposed to be here. This young man is not here. Let me see. It's not supposed to be there. I don't need him. So these the boards. So we'll set up our middleware here. This is the dummy data we were using. So this is the get request to get all users, all the students in the system. So we'll console log, we'll return the whole student as our response. So here we register the students. So in registering the students, we try to get uh, the ID. We want the ID to increase automatically and in ascending order. So what we did here was that we checked the number of students and added one, passing it to the ID. So we destructured this from the request body to get the record the user is sending in. So we created a new user, pushed it to the existing users array. So here we'll try to get an individual user using a get request. Here is a put request to update the user. This is the delete request. Well, so with this, I think I come to the end of this particular tutorial. So in the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to persist this data on your database. Because what we just did here now, we used a mock data here. So all these registration we did here, it doesn't persist, it doesn't register here. So it just once you make the request, it tries to push the new user into the array, but when you come back again you can't find it because it's not persisted in the system. So in the next tutorial I will show you how to uh, add your database so that you'll be able to persist your data in the database. Thank you for watching.